To the young reader. This book was written with you in mind. Life does not come with easy answers or clear directions. At times it feels like being inside a shell, closed off, uncertain, waiting for the right moment to break through. Born of the Shell is meant to walk beside you in those moments. You will not find rigid rules here. Instead, you will find echoes, words meant to stir your own questions, reflections, and courage. Each page is an invitation to pause, think, and grow into who you are meant to become. You may choose to read this book alone, letting the words guide your private thoughts, or you may share it with friends, mentors, or groups, turning the echoes into conversations. Either way, remember, growth is not a single act, but a process. Echo 1. The Warm Dark. Mistaking comfort for peace. Beginnings are soft. The comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. Osé Dergriff. The Shell. It was warm in there, not just in temperature, but in rhythm, in habit, in the quiet certainty of repetition. Before the crack, there was calm, a darkness that felt like comfort, a silence that didn't disturb, it protected. I didn't yet know I was in a shell. I just knew the shape of what held me. I grew without asking questions. I absorbed without examining. Everything I needed was already provided. Thought, belief, identity, all shaped by the walls that encased me. There were no mirrors, no decisions, only development. And yet, even then, before the pain, before the light, there were hints. A flutter, a shift, a moment of unfamiliar pressure, as if the space that once cradled me was slowly beginning to resist me. That's how transformation starts, not with a scream, but with a stretch. But at first I did what all things in the process of forming do. I nestled in, I called the dark home, and I whispered to myself, "This is enough. This is life." Until one day, it wasn't. That's when I knew. Even comfort can become a cage. Even nourishment has an expiration. Even silence, when prolonged, becomes a form of forgetting. And that is when the warm dark shifted from shelter to shell. Reflection 1. Highlights from Echo 1. Before the crack, there was calm. I didn't yet know I was in a shell. Even comfort can become a cage. That's how transformation starts, not with a scream, but with a stretch. Annotations. This reflection explores the early stage of growth when we are surrounded by familiarity, rhythm, and ease. It feels like peace, but often it's just the absence of disruption. The narrator describes a time of quiet formation, before awareness, before questioning. It is the spiritual twilight, where soul and structure feel indistinguishable, but restlessness signals the arrival of dawn. But growth always brings discomfort. The space that once felt safe begins to resist. Something stirs inside. At first, it's easy to ignore. It's easier to stay curled up in what we know, but eventually, the warm dark becomes too tight. This is the start of change, not loud or dramatic, but internal. A shift, a pressure, a whisper that says, "This is no longer life. It's limitation." Reflection and discussion. Questions for thought and dialogue. Have you ever stayed in a place, habit, or mindset because it felt comfortable, even if it no longer helped you grow? How do you tell the difference between peace and stagnation? What shell in your life once felt like home, but has since become too small? What's the earliest sign you felt that change was coming, before it was obvious? What does it mean for you to stretch, even before you fully understand why? Scriptural insight, Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. There is a time for rest and a time for rising. Even seasons of comfort can expire, and when they do, we must have the courage to stretch into the unknown.
You have reached the end of the preview. Not everything we inherit is a gift. Some burdens must be broken through. You've heard the beginning of that journey. To continue through the remaining echoes and reflections, purchase the complete audiobook of Born of the Shell, A Journey from Containment to Becoming. I look forward to traveling the rest of the journey with you.